Certainly a wide variety of speakers tonight. I want to find out how much they diverge from the facts. Our fact checker, Daniel Dale, joins us. Daniel, what stood out to you tonight?
Well, First Lady Melania Trump said we deserve, quote, total honesty from our president. We certainly haven't got that, Anderson, from President Donald Trump, and we didn't even get it from speakers tonight. There were a whole bunch, again, of false claims, some from Trump's own family. For example, Trump's son Eric claimed that his father has accomplished, and I quote, peace in the Middle East. Now, Trump did help broker the Israel-UAE deal, but come on, that's laughable. War rages in much of the region from Syria to Libya. Thousands of troops still in Iraq. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict obviously continues. Eric Trump also said, like many speakers before, that Joe Biden has, quote, pledged to defund the police. He has not. He has explicitly, repeatedly rejected that. Eric Trump also said that Biden has, quote, pledged to take away the Second Amendment. Now, this is common conservative rhetoric, but Biden hasn't pledged repealing the amendment. He's proposed gun control measures, including a non-mandatory buyback of so-called assault weapons. Now, Larry Kudlow, Trump's economic advisor, said that Trump took over an economy on what he said was the front end of a recession. I don't know what front end means exactly, but there was no recession in the late Obama term. The economy was growing, though growth had slowed in 2016 to 1.7%. There were no quarters of negative growth in 2016. You need two straight for a recession.
Also, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi repeated claims she made about Biden and a Ukrainian prosecutor during Trump's impeachment proceedings when she was on Trump's legal team. You fact-checked those claims back then as well.
I did. They were false then, and they're false now. She suggested that Biden had pressured Ukraine to get rid of a prosecutor who is investigating the company where Biden's son Hunter sat on the board. The issue with this prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, was that he was not investigating the company or much of anyone, according to Shokin's former deputy and Ukrainian anti-corruption activist. In fact, the reason that U.S. diplomats, the EU, the IMF, and those activists wanted Shokin fired was because they said he was unwilling to investigate elite corruption. Now, that wasn't all, Anderson. We also had tonight Cissy Graham Lynch, the granddaughter of the famed evangelist Billy Graham, saying that Trump was the first U.S. president to speak to the United Nations about the importance of religious freedom. I just did a quick Google search and brought up transcripts of President Obama, President Bush, the other President Bush, President Reagan, all talking to the UN General Assembly about religious freedom. We also had Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying that Trump held China accountable for covering up the coronavirus. Well, maybe arguably, maybe belatedly, but it's certainly worth noting that before he turned on China, he repeatedly praised China's handling of the virus, including specifically saying that the U.S. appreciates its, quote, transparency.
You were busy fact-checking the convention. Eric Trump, you heard a few things from him that were not true. Let's start with him. What is it?
There were at least three, Don. He claimed while listing the president's accomplishments, he just cited peace in the Middle East. We don't have peace in the Middle East. Trump, of course, did help broker a Israel-UAE normalization deal. That is something, but we have a war in Syria, we have thousands of troops in Iraq, we have an Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and so on and so forth. Eric also said, like many other speakers, that Biden, he said, has pledged to defund the police. Biden has explicitly, repeatedly rejected that idea. He also said Biden has pledged to get rid of our cherished Second Amendment. Now, this is just something conservatives say, but it's not true. Biden hasn't proposed repealing the amendment. He has proposed some gun control measures, like a non-mandatory buyback of so-called assault weapons.
Yeah. One more. Let me give you another fact check here, Daniel. A claim from Larry Kudlow tonight that I just want you to fact check for us. Here it is. Watch this.
Inheriting a stagnant economy on the front end of recession, the program of tax cuts, historic rollback of onerous regulations that crippled small business, unleashing energy to become the world's #1 producer, and free, fair, and reciprocal trade deals to bolster manufacturing, agriculture, technology, and other sectors. The economy was rebuilt in 3 years.
Okay, so Trump inherited a stagnant economy. The Obama administration created more jobs in the last part of their administration than Trump did in I think all of his administration. The first part, I forget what the statistic shows.
It was the last 3 years of Obama versus the first 3 years of Trump.
Obama created more jobs than Trump. So what is he talking about?
I don't know, Don. I honestly don't. I mean, growth did slow in 2016 to 1.7%, but that's still growth. Kudlow said Trump inherited the front end of a recession. There was no recession. You have to have 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth for a recession. There were no quarters of negative growth in late 2016 or early 2017 that was partial Obama, partial Trump. So that phrase, I honestly have no idea where it comes from.
And if you're watching tonight and you don't know, then you believe it. And a lot of people did, because I'm not sure there was much fact-checking. I don't believe there was much fact-checking going on, especially in conservative media tonight when it comes to that.